Hello, welcome back to my channel. We are back with a double feature of Beck's reaction to Amber Lynn's fake apology. This is kind of late. They did upload this 5 days ago. So my apologies for not getting to that until now. And we are also going to react to part 2, Mr. Snowflake's Q&A. Kind of good. Sorry, Beck's kind of... Why is this so hard for me to say? Beck kind of reacts. Okay, so I guess let's just get into it. Side note, I uploaded my second... So there's a bunch of... There's a bunch of crows right now, and Dimitri's watching. I'm like watching. They're all like flying in. It's very cool. Anyways, I uploaded my second vlog. Well, I guess technically third vlog of med school. And yeah, I uploaded that a few days ago. I hope that you guys enjoy. I'll try to get better at actually recording and stuff. I forget sometimes, or I get very busy. But anyways, that's beside the point. I hope you guys do enjoy those. I'm gonna keep trying to improve on those, videotape more, blah, blah, blah. All right, let's get into it, because this is gonna be a long video. My apologies. We'll see if I end up putting it at 1.5 speed. We might, but let's see. All right, first off, initially what I'm noticing is they got 10,000 likes on this video. Amber could literally never. Amber Lynn, I think at like max gets 1,000 likes on a video. They also have 76,000 views. So Beck's kind of killing it. And also they're getting a pretty good amount of views on their like ghost stories and like their special interest deep dives, which is awesome to see. They're getting like 10,000, 9,000 views. That's awesome. So good for them. Anyways, let's get into it. Also, I have...
Hey guys, today I'm going to be responding to Amber's My Last Response to Beck video. This will be the first time that I will be reacting to one of her videos instead of a reaction channels as a buffer. The reason for that is because this video seems to be directly aimed at me. So I wanted you guys to get a raw...
Because if we remember, this apology was not for her audience, it was for Beck. Even though apparently she apologized before to Beck, and she apologized on her live stream, but Beck would have to pay $9.99. So, you know, but this was like on non-paywall, still gonna make money off of it though. Apology just to Beck though, just to Beck.
Response without any other input on this one. I'm going to try to go into this with an open mind, but I'm not expecting much, as we all know. I hope you guys enjoy. Let's get into it.
Hello. So welcome to a new video. It's actually February 7th at 3 a.m. in the morning. I could have totally slept and waited till tomorrow to film this, but I think it's just so heavy that like I have to do it now so I can just be completely done with it.
I think this is why Amber Lynn did her reaction the way that she did it, is because Beck did this reaction the way that they did it, which is they put a clip of her talking, not really, like a picture of her talking, and then it goes back to Beck's response to it. Because every time that Amber Lynn's tried to react, she just holds the computer in the camera because she's too lazy to put it in the corner. Y'all, I know most of you know this, but it's literally not hard. It takes 2 seconds to do it and to like figure out how to do it.
This was so urgent that it took you 10 days to release this video.
Yep.
I want to thank you for adding me so swiftly to the queue of your videos. I really enjoy my iced tea.
Bro, Beck's like, I ain't fucking scared of you no more. Okay, we're getting sassy, Beck. I like it.
I watched Beck's new video that they posted tonight or today or whatever, but it was a new one. So that video genuinely...
I like that Beck made sure to remind everyone what it was. Amber Lynn being rude to Beck for 10 minutes.
Shocked me, and it made me feel stupid and dumb, and it made me realize
Yo,
that,
I know that I reacted to her apology, but I hear it and I'm still like, girl, what? Like, it still gets me. It's just like, it's crazy.
Like, the way that I viewed our relationship was completely wrong, and I was oblivious to a lot of things, even to the extent of the way that I treated them.
Okay, because it's so much of Amberlynn, I am gonna at least put it at 1.25 because I just can't re-hear Amberlynn and the bullshit.
So I want to be accountable in that.
People have been pointing out to you for years that you weren't treating me well. It's not that you weren't aware or that people weren't telling you. It's just that you didn't care. I hope that she says more than just, I take accountability, because saying
Beck, she doesn't. I mean, you probably already guessed that, but she doesn't. Also, exactly. People said exactly that and have been saying this for years. Honestly, pretty much the moment that Beck came on to Amberlynn's channel, people were like, Beck doesn't look like they want to be recorded. Beck looks uncomfortable. And then when you moved yourself into Beck and Eric and Ricky's house, that's really where the like full abuse started happening. And people were calling it out. Like, again, yes, at the time, there were a lot of people that did not like Beck and called out Beck's actions, blah, blah, blah. But there was still a huge part of the community that literally made a hashtag save Beck because of how overtly abusive Amberlynn was being to Beck. So don't act like you weren't aware. In fact, you literally talked about Amberlynn literally talked about some of the things that were like being spread around in the community, saying that like, oh, Beck like is a grown woman, they can leave if they want to leave, they would never stay with someone who's abusive, I don't make them do anything, blah 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 blah. Like you knew exactly how you were treating Beck, and you knew exactly how it was coming across to the audience. So to sit here now 5 years later and act like, oh, this is just so brand new to me, I had no idea. You're rewriting history that, again, you uploaded video evidence proving the contrary to this story that you're rewriting now.
Take accountability isn't actually taking accountability.
Right. But this is just the example that I saw in their newest video where it made me look back and be like, yeah, like we both actually viewed this relationship completely different.
Yeah, we did view this relationship differently. I was your caretaker and you were enjoying being taken care of without any appreciation for the things that I did. You made me feel like I owed it to you. Everything that I could possibly give and more. I always owed you more.
So in their new video...
Dude, I mean, Beck's spitting facts. Obviously, like, people are speculating what Beck was feeling, but like, low-key... Girl World has been getting it correct. Like, that's exactly what people are saying. Like, of course you two viewed it differently. You were the abuser and the one in the power seat, and Beck was the victim. So of course you're gonna view it differently. For you, there was nothing that you would change. There was no, like, nothing that you regret in it because you were getting all your needs met plus more. You had all the freedom as much as Amberlynn can have in that body, while Beck was sitting here being told what they could do at every moment. Like, they were your caretaker. So like, yeah, of course you viewed it differently.
Reacting to a compilation video of me being rude to them for 10 minutes straight.
Check it out if you haven't. Dude, I love it. Beck is like, they're like full sassiness. I wish that we would get like, I know that they don't like vlogs and stuff like that, but I wish that we could see Beck now in vlogs because I feel like they would be so fun. Because like, I feel like now we're actually seeing Beck's personality, and when they were with Amberlynn, we saw a very like annoyed, self-conscious, like low self-esteem version of Beck. And yeah, I love that like we're seeing Beck's personality come out and like the sassiness that it holds.
Beck stated multiple times that it's obvious that they didn't want to be on camera, and they said, oh, look at me zoning out while she's talking. And it's like, both of those things, like, genuinely hurt, and it made me realize like I didn't even notice these things. Just like how when I was in a relationship with him, I didn't notice how mean or rude I could come off until looking back, and I just feel super remorseful. I viewed our whole relationship a certain way that it wasn't. I genuinely thought that they wanted to be on camera and that they were okay with being on camera. And I was so accustomed to them zoning out or
I know that I'm like giving faces and like kind of whatever to Amberly, and I know that I've already corrected this, but it's just like every time I hear this bitch talk, I'm just like, the fuck? Like, are you okay? No, you're actually not okay. But like, the lies are so much.
Like they didn't want to be on camera, that was normal for me. But I didn't know that the zoning out and the look on their face, etc., was like an indication that they weren't listening to me or that they didn't want to be on camera. Like that is like news to me.
It was not news to you, and it's weird for you to say that it was normal for me to be zoning out and disassociating.
Yeah.
You knew why.
That's so valid. I don't think I said that. That is weird that for you, it was like normal and like okay that your significant other is literally zoning out. Like if I see my partner zoning out, my reaction isn't, oh, they're just zoning out. My reaction is like, are you okay? Like, do you need something? Do you need a moment? Like, can I help you? Do you need to be left alone? Like, not I'm just gonna keep doing me. It's like that's a cry for help, Amberlynn. That's weird. And if you're just viewing that as normal, that's weird. That's weird behavior on your part.
Felt that way, but if you didn't, why wouldn't you ask me what was going on?
Yeah.
And why was I acting that way? Why would you just continue filming and let it become the normal? The truth is that you did know, because I had told you many times that I did not want to be on camera.
Damn.
And your response was that I owed you and that it was my job to be in the vlogs and to be on camera. So me acting this way was the result of you not caring.
Bro, Amberlynn literally viewed Beck as a servant, as like an employee. She did not view Beck as their partner. It's your duty. You have to be on camera. Bitch, no the fuck I don't. And clearly Beck felt that way. Clearly, because they were on camera for 4 years straight. And that's crazy that we're hearing that like, no, like it wasn't even like it was subtle signs. Beck was like giving body language kind of thing. They straight up said they did not want to be on camera, and Amberlynn said, too fucking bad. Too fucking bad, bro. I made you quit your job. I'm not allowing you to get a new job. But I'm also going to hold over your head that you're not bringing in income so that I can make you do whatever the fuck I want. And what I want is for you to be on camera, whether you like it or not. What I want is for us to play girlfriend partner and pretend like we have this like loving relationship that we don't have, so that I can look wanted and needed and loved on YouTube, because I need to portray a specific version of myself that no one's gonna believe anyways, but I'm still gonna portray that. It's weird. Like Amberlynn is a freaking psycho, bro. Like not a like a that person's like she's a legitimate psycho. I firmly believe she's a legitimate psycho.
And you knew the entire time.
That's crazy.
But knowing that like I viewed our relationship one way and it wasn't, like I genuinely look stupid, but I guess like maybe I low-key deserve it.
Maybe it's not so low-key, Amber.
Realizing that we both...
Exactly. Amber, it's you high-key look stupid and you high-key deserve it. Like, an abuser looking stupid is kind of like the bare minimum of their comeuppance, however you say that.
Viewed this relationship so differently actually makes it easier for me to be accountable and to apologize, because if that's the way...
I didn't get that part the first time. Like, why does it now make it easier because Beck saw it so differently? That to me does not that does not add up, but okay. That
they truly viewed it, like I deeply apologize for that.
Saying I apologize for if you viewed it that way is not an apology. Yep. It's not just the way I viewed it. It's what I experienced and what happened to me and what I felt.
And
I mean, that language is like a very abuser technique language kind of thing. Like, that was so Amberlynn the way I said that. But it's very much like when an abuser, narcissist, whatever, when their actions have a negative consequence to another person, and they say, hey, that was like really rude, that hurt my feelings, that whatever to me, and they're like, well, I'm sorry if you took it that way. Not that I'm sorry for my actions, I'm sorry that my actions have led for you to feel that way. It's, well, I'm sorry you feel that way. I'm sorry if you took it that way. No, it's not I took it anyway. It's you were an asshole, and those are the consequences is me feeling like shit. So don't do that. Like, you know, but like, it's just crazy that Amber Lynn, like, even in her quote unquote apology, it, like, her language is very narcissistic and abusive. And I don't think she really realizes it, because I think she is very sick in the head, and she has never done anything to get real help in it. You know, like, she Googles, chat GPTs, TikToks her symptoms, and like that's the extent of her getting help. And in reality, all it has led to is like her having more language to manipulate people and like hold over people's head these like diagnoses that she has that she doesn't really have.
I can do to change their opinions and their thoughts and their experience, because that's what they lived.
Right, you're not going to change my opinion on what happened because that's what happened.
Right. It's interesting. It's like Amber Lynn kind of exposes herself, and I love that Beck is not falling for this. It's like Amber Lynn is exposing the fact that like if there was a way for her to change Beck's mind, she would. But there isn't at this point. Like, it's clear Beck has come to the terms and like with the fact that they were abused in this relationship, the entire relationship, that it was insanely unhealthy, that it was just like not a normal like kosher relationship. And I'm glad that Becca's like, yeah, of course you're not going to change my mind, like that's what happened. But it's just very telling the language Amber Lynn uses, and the fact that like if Amber Lynn could still at this point convince Beck that their memories are not real, she would try to convince them. But Beck is very solid in their experience at this point, and have clearly have like done a lot of healing personally and for this relationship. And I know that they have been, I'm pretty sure I've been seeing a therapist. I know that during the Amber Lynn era, they were seeing a therapist for years. So like, it's clear that Beck takes going to a therapist or psychologist very seriously, and like their mental health very seriously. So it's just very interesting. Like, Amber Lynn, because she's so dumb, doesn't realize she tells on herself.
The greatest girlfriend. I wasn't the most perfect girlfriend, but I will say I'm not all good, I'm not all bad, and I wasn't that way then either. Like, our relationship was definitely complex, and even though it might not be visible to the public or even to Beck in this moment, I have taken accountability for the things that I've done.
No, you haven't. Yeah. And saying I take accountability is not taking accountability. I've never seen you take accountability, and I'm still waiting for it in this video.
Damn. And in the video, they even stated, like, I don't want you to reach out to me. And that's very much why I haven't, because I wanted to respect those boundaries. But they said, I don't want an apology from you. I genuinely feel like Beck deserves an apology for the wrongdoings that I did do. But if they don't want to accept it or hear it, then I have to be okay with that. I'm not going to apologize to the internet. The apology wasn't for you guys. It was for them.
What apology? I didn't get an apology.
I feel like in this situation, like, this type of accountability should be handled in private, just like the apology should have, and the sort of discussion that is like happening between back and forth with us. Like, these things should be happening in private.
Those videos where you mistreated me were not private, and neither was all that stuff that you said about me for years.
Ding. And it's like, when personal matters like this,
Beck is like, I know that they're quick quips, but Beck's nailing it. It's exactly what the audience has been saying. And it's also like, it's just like, it's clear also that like Gorwa has been saying exactly what Becca's saying now for years. And it's really shows that Amber Lynn is not as good as portraying this like identity that she thinks she's portraying. And like, she's not as good as like rewriting the narrative as Amber Lynn thinks she is at it. Like, it's very interesting.
brought onto like a public platform, I feel like backed up in a corner, like I have to defend myself or I have to say something. But it's like, I'm not going to sit here and go through every single thing that they said, like every single claim, every single this or that, because that is just going to fuel negativity. I truly don't feel like the back and forth is productive for either of us. But if they truly feel like sharing their story is what is going to help them in the long run, then go for it. But I have to genuinely step away. Like I said, I wasn't going to speak about them, and that was standing.
You said you weren't going to speak on me, but then you continued to speak on me. And
Correct.
That's why this entire thing started.
Exactly.
And thanks for giving me your permission, but I didn't need your permission to tell my story to begin with. If you're embarrassed to just say any of it out loud, why don't you just say that you did all of it? You didn't have to go through everything I said individually. You could have just took accountability for all of it at once if that's what you felt you wanted to do.
But like hearing all
but
of
that's
these
the
things,
thing, Beck. Like Amber Lynn, and I said this in the reaction to Amber Lynn. Amber Lynn will never accept, she hasn't taken accountability for anything, if we're being honest. But in this fake world of Amber Lynn's, where she thinks she's taking accountability for some stuff, she's never going to fully take accountability for everything, because she still wants to place some doubt into people's minds about you. And it's obviously manipulation tactic towards her audience, or what she thinks is manipulation tactic. It's not a good one. It doesn't work. But she still thinks that, like, if I can place some doubt on the validity of Beck's statements, then every time I get exposed by Beck or anyone else, they'll always in the back of their minds think, well, maybe it's not true. But that ship has sailed, Amber Lynn. People will, for the most part, always believe your partner's over you. Because one, we watch the relationship happen, and the way that Beck says things matches up with what people are saying at the time. And two, you're a known fucking liar, and you lie to this day. So, it's just like, she's upset about the audience that she's cultivated and the way that they react towards her. But again, she cultivated it. Actions have consequences, Amber Lynn, and this is your consequence. No one believes a word you say, especially when it's so inconsistent and we can see with our own eyes and hear with our own ears the reality.
Being said, it's been hard for me because it's like I have shown growth in my personal life, and it's hard to like show growth publicly when these are things that like was happening behind the scenes. So publicly, I might look the same to you guys, but I have changed a lot.
We're only halfway through this video, and all I've seen so far is that you have not grown at all. I don't think that you should be the judge of if you have grown or gotten better. And yeah, some of the worst of it happened behind the scenes, but some of it happened publicly.
And I just want to say that at any time...
It's exactly what I said. It's like, you can't expect to be held accountable in private and have that privacy given to you when you made the abuse you did public. When you publicly humiliated Beck for years. It's not how it works, Amber Lynn. You don't get to like do the hard part in private now that it's embarrassing for you. You did the hard part for them in public. So the hard part for you is also going to be in public. Hate to break it to you. Also, sorry for my burp. Y'all, I saw Amber Lynn, I heard it, and I was like, I don't give a fuck, and I just burped. Sorry.
I had Beck on my channel. It was never out of malice. I never meant to disrespect them, and I really, 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 really did love them. This might be a little tea, because no one knows, but when Beck and I were just friends, while I was with Feline, and Feline did know this, don't worry, one night I got really, really drunk, and I told Beck, like, I really was in love with you, and I still love you, like, you're a great person, and I hyped them up, because genuinely, I owe so much to them, and I have so much gratitude to them. They were there for me during some of the hardest moments of my life, i.e. when I was diagnosed with cancer. But I
hate the way she says that, i.e. when I was diagnosed with cancer. Why you guys say it like that, girl? The fuck?
Tried to show them in a certain way. Nothing was ever out of malice from the bottom of my heart. And I just really needed to make that clear.
yeah, we were friendly for like a year until you wouldn't stop talking about me. And I was only really friendly with you because we both still talked to Eric and Ricky and we had to be around each other. So I just wanted to keep things cordial. But I didn't really consider us friends because of the way you treated me throughout the relationship and the way you acted toward the end. And as for the...
That's good to know, because Amber Lynn made it seem like her and Beck were just like still kikiing all the time. They were still really good friends. It's just that they didn't work out as a relationship. And honestly, she always frames it that way with her exes. But yeah, like, why would Beck be friends with her abuser afterwards? Like, it felt like it was coming out of a necessity. And it's interesting to have that confirmed. Also, the whole time, as more and more comes out and Beck shares her story more and more, my side eye is so fucking hard for Eric and Ricky, truly. I could not imagine living with who I claim to be my best friend and watch them be abused in almost every single way for 4 years and just standing back and watching that. That was their house. Like, I understand that Amberlynn was taking on a lot of the financial responsibility. I don't give a fuck. Like, money is not that like important to me that I'm gonna let my best friend be abused. Like, I don't care if I have to go get a job at like some nasty place to make ends meet if it means that my best friend isn't being abused on the daily. Like, hello, that's actually insane. They had the power to be like, Amber Lynn, get the fuck out. Like, you're not welcome here anymore. And they instead took like a free ride from Amber Lynn at the expense of Beck being abused. That is like actually so wild to me. And I really feel like we don't talk about that enough in the girl world Amberverse.
Private apology you gave me while drunk, I don't recall that ever happening at all. I know that you didn't say that you loved me or that you still loved me, and I know that you also wouldn't have hyped me up. I also know that I didn't drink with you after the breakup, and I don't recall you ever being drunk around me after the breakup either. The only thing that I can think of maybe she could be thinking about is maybe it was in a phone call or a text message, but I honestly really don't think that it happened at all.
Honestly,
I do think that's what Amberlynn was implying, was that it was on a FaceTime call or something like that, because I know after they broke up and Amberlynn jumped right into Jade, Amberlynn still FaceTimed Beck all the time and would talk to Beck all the time even after they moved out. So I'm guessing that's what Amberlynn was talking about, because I don't see a world where Beck would go and hang out with Jade and Amber, or just Amber in general. I don't see a world where like Beck would go get drunk with Amber. Like, Amberlynn's obnoxious in general, let alone drunk. And if I'm not your girlfriend, I'm not fucking dealing with that. Yeah, I think that's what Amberlynn was implying, that it was over the phone. But like, I also trust Beck in like not remembering that and like saying like that didn't happen. Like, I feel like that would be something that you would remember. Like, an abuser trying to like manipulate you in that way. Like, I feel like that's a pretty memorable moment, but who knows?
What I can really do is just continue working on myself. My focus moving forward is to just ignore it all. Like, I wanted to take what Beck is doing and put it in like a positive way and put a positive spin to it and like be like, yeah, I am accountable. But at the same time, obviously, like, I do find frustrations in the ways that I feel like they are exaggerating or they have lied.
You cannot take accountability and tell me that I am lying and exaggerating in the same video.
Exactly.
I do firmly believe that two things can happen at once. I can be accountable.
It's a manipulation tactic. Amberlynn thinks that she's smart, thinks that she's pulling one over on her audience. She's not, but yeah, it's a way to devalue, to like make Beck's not accusations, but accounts of the situation and of the relationship, like not have as much validity in the eyes of the viewers. But like, it's not working, Amberlynn. They don't have a history of lying to their audience for 11 fucking years, and even beforehand. You do, my dude.
But I can also be frustrated. But I'm not accountable and frustrated about the same things. Like, everyone likes to say, there are 3 sides to every story: their side, my side, the truth.
I just got so disgusted by that. I just don't know what to even say.
And like, a really good example of like people viewing things differently, like kind of what's going on with like Blake and Justin. Blake feels like one thing happened, while Justin's like, no, that's not what happened.
First of all, Amber, you are not Blake Lively. Secondly, it is very...
I love that. First of all, Amberlynn, you are not Blake Lively. I mean, exactly. I'm pretty sure that's like what I said too. I'm like, this is not a comparable like thing. Like, this is not a comparable comparison. What are you talking about? Amberlynn, she really views herself as something special, huh?
Common for these types of relationships for the victim and perpetrator to have two very different sounding stories. It's not because the victim is lying, but because the perpetrator is unlikely to be willing to admit to certain things they did.
So you know what?
Just the way that Beck talks about this stuff and their responses to to Amberlynn is so clear that they have been seeing a therapist, that they have been working with a professional on this stuff. Like, this isn't coming from like chat GPT, you know, like this is like coming from like years of working with someone who like specializes in these things, you know. I'm proud of them.
Firmly be like, okay, Beck is lying, because if they viewed it that way, then I have to accept that for what it is, because what's true to someone and the way that they view something might not be true to everyone else in the room. I want to play devil's advocate here for a second. If I'm remembering something wrong...
Also, I thought this part was so funny. Not Amberlynn playing devil's advocate to herself. Like, girl, you need help.
Beck genuinely remembers as like a full truth, then that's fair as well, because I have really bad memory problems due to moments of high stress, trauma, BPD. When I have anxiety, sometimes I'll literally like black out because I'm so anxious.
That's a lot of things to blame instead of yourself. I do believe that she thinks that I'm exaggerating because in her mind, everything she did was not a big deal.
Yes.
But I don't think that she forgot about anything that she did. And it seems pretty obvious that she is aware that everything I've been saying is the truth.
I just want to say...
It's exactly that. I think that for Amberlynn, because she never really took into account anyone else's feelings in the room, when Beck would like say that certain things were harming them, or when the audience would say like, hey, this is like not appropriate the way that you're treating your partner, to Amberlynn, it's like, oh, all these people are crazy. Beck doesn't know what they're talking about. They're just being, you know, exaggeratory. But Amberlynn like never took it serious when these things were being talked about. So now when Amberlynn is sitting here and hearing the things that Beck is saying, hearing the accounts from Beck's perspective, and the way that the audience is viewing it and responding to Beck and being like, oh my God, like it's as worse, if not worse, than what people were expecting and like were seeing during that time. To Amberlynn, it's like, oh shit. Like they must be exaggerating because the audience is reacting in a really like strong way. And I didn't view it that way. But yeah, Amber, because like you don't care about other people. So like as long as your needs were being met, as long as your wants were being met, everything else was just like, you know, like white noise to you. Like it's like, oh, okay, yeah. Hand wavy. Like something's abusive. Oh, okay, you're crazy. You're just insane. You don't know what you're talking about. You're creating something. And it's like, no, like we aren't and Beck isn't. So like, it's very interesting. I don't know.
Whether my apology was behind a paywall, whether it was in a Snapchat, whether it's in a YouTube video, or whether I say it to Beck directly, it is 100% sincere.
No.
Nothing she's said so far has seemed genuine at all. And it does matter that it was behind a paywall. What does she expect me to pay $10 to receive her apology?
Exactly.
Which, by the way, was not an apology.
And I have apologized to them personally.
Exactly. I mean, Beck is nailing it. It's like, how can it be genuine? How can it be your true thoughts if you can't even apologize to the person directly? If you're literally putting it behind a paywall that you know they're not subscribed to. So who is it for then, Amberlynn? Like, it's crazy. She really doesn't get it. Like, she really doesn't understand how crazy she is. And this video really confirms the fact that she has, in the bare minimum, severe narcissistic traits. In bare minimum. Like, I don't think that she is right in the head.
But that was years ago after our breakup. Beck and I was friends for about a year after we...
My favorite part of this video, Beck and I was friends. I'm a writer. Beck and I was friends.
broke up. And obviously that didn't work out, which I understand.
Do you understand, Amber? Do you understand why
No.
I stopped talking to you and didn't want to be friends?
But I did apologize
Probably
to them.
not.
Never happened.
I don't think that I took as much accountability as I do take now.
That's crazy because you didn't take any today either.
Because like I said,
Dude, I mean, Beck just coming in like, do you know why? There's no apology, no accountability. Dude, Beck is so removed from the grasp of Amberlynn, and I bet you that makes Amberlynn fucking kick and scream, like, in her pillow. She's probably, like, yelling in the pillow, watching Beck's reaction, like, fuck. Like, they're not falling for it. Like, I really think that this was a way for Amberlynn to try to get Beck to, like, back down a bit and to be, like, nicer or softer, not do as many videos on Amberlynn, because, again, Amberlynn is only used to the Beck that was able to be manipulated by Amberlynn very easily, you know, and like for so long, and like the Beck that would do whatever Amberlynn wanted even when they didn't want to, you know, et cetera, on those issues. So I think this was Amberlynn's last ditch attempt to try to like get Beck to placate to Amberlynn's wants, which is like, don't talk about me, don't expose the shit that I put you through, don't expose me as an individual or the way that I'm like nasty as a human being on every level. And it didn't work. And I bet you that makes Amberlynn freaking rage, bro. I'd love to see that.
Every day, I like to reflect and just grow into a better person. So I'm not going to sit here and list off every single claim that they said and write down like, okay guys, these are the things that are true and these are the things that aren't, these are the things that I'm accountable for. Like, there's no productivity in that, because whether the internet knows what I'm accountable for versus what I'm not accountable for, that doesn't bother me. The only person that I'm worried about and them actually hearing me is Beck.
I heard you, and I still have no idea what you're taking accountability for.
And if they don't want to, that's
I mean, exactly. Like, Beck's listening, and they don't like what they hear. They ain't buying what you're selling, Amberlynn. It's cringy as hell. That's embarrassing for you.
I'm okay with that. I want them to do whatever helps them. I'm not apologizing for myself. I'm apologizing to the person that I was in a relationship with for almost 5 years. And I hurt them, and I'm sorry for that. I really want to continue to...
And you heard that, and I'm sorry for that.
Taking that experience and that relationship and learning from it. Beck can say absolutely anything from this point forward, and I am not going to respond.
I wonder if Amberlynn will talk about anything that they talk about in the Q&A that we're gonna react to next.
Say that this is a good performance, but we need some tears.
Oh, Beck's like, I'd say this is good, but ain't no tears. The fuck? That's so funny. Dude, Beck is out. They are not buying into this bullshit.
Nothing but the best.
I love that.
And the apology that I need to give to you guys, if I hurt any of you during this whole thing because you guys care for Beck, then I'm also sorry for that. I am a very flawed individual. That is not an excuse, but I'm a flawed individual that can learn from this experience. And thankfully, I have.
Unfortunately, you have not. And hopefully this doesn't mean that you're done growing from this experience, because I haven't seen any growth.
But if you see it or believe it,
and you know what? I believe Beck in that, because Beck knows Amberlynn as a person. Like, when Amberlynn says like, oh, I've grown as a person, you guys don't see it, blah, 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 blah. Her reasoning is always like, oh, well, you guys don't like know me in person. You guys don't know how I am in person. So like, you're only seeing certain things. So it's hard to convey over camera, which it's not. You can tell when a person has changed and grown and blah, blah, blah. People don't see it because it hasn't happened for Amberlynn. But to have someone who knew and was with Amberlynn on an intimate level for almost 5 years say like, I don't see any growth, is very telling. It really means that, once again, the audience isn't crazy when we speculate, when we show our observations. And I think that's another reason why Amberlynn hates when people like Beck or like Destiny come out and talk about Amberlynn, or even Alexis, because these are people that knew Amberlynn on an intimate level and are confirming everything that people who are watching Amberlynn online are saying. And it shows that Amberlynn is not good at masking her true intentions and her true personality. She's not good at fabricating this fake life that she wants to portray to people. You know what I mean? It's like, it's just very telling about how dumb and like just like how like not good Amberlynn is at manipulating things. So it's interesting that she continues to use that tactic because it clearly doesn't work that well. It's like very clear to see through. I don't know. It's all very interesting.
Because I am my own person and I know how I've been in past relationships. And as I've gotten older and more mature and I've learned more about my BPD and just who I am as a person, I have become a better person and I have become a better girlfriend. I've become a better friend. I've become a better pet parent.
Amber, you have recently threatened me, your most recent ex, Alexis, and who knows who else. This is behavior you've shown for years. You've not become better. And how dare you say you've become a better pet parent after recently losing Rarity? I don't know if I should say this, but maybe you should show this apology video to your therapist. If you're not able to see what's wrong with all of this, maybe they can help you.
Dude, honestly, Beck poses like a legitimate point. Like, I would encourage Amberlynn. Amberlynn won't do it because she, I think on some level knows how Amber, like herself is coming across, like how she is coming across to the audience. And I think that she would never show anything that could potentially be called out by someone with, you know, standing and like understanding in this field. You know, like Amberlynn can pretend like she's Miss Therapist all day long, but like if you're getting called out by an actual therapist, like what's Amberlynn gonna say? Oh, you don't know what you're talking about? I went on ChatGPT, you know, like, so, but I do think it would be beneficial for Amberlynn to show, one, her videos in general, but things like this to her therapist and to really be like, what the fuck am I not seeing? Because clearly, Amberlynn, there is a disconnect. Like, you clearly do not understand like certain things, you know, like, and this isn't like a, like, I'm not understanding social cues, like, and I hope Amberlynn doesn't run with certain things, because I know some reaction channels have been like, oh, she doesn't understand social cues or social things. It's not like an autistic thing, you know, like where it's like, I don't always understand like that people are making a joke, or I don't always understand facial expressions or like body language, but like I can understand, like, if someone's like, hey, that hurt my feelings, I'm not gonna be like, no, it didn't. I'm gonna be like, oh, like, can you tell me why? Because sometimes I don't always know how to deliver like information in a way that's like sensitive, you know, like things like that. But like Amberlynn, like couldn't be told to her face, hey, you are being disrespectful. And instead of being like, oh, I didn't understand that, could you explain to me like how? It's like, no, I'm not. You're crazy. And like, I would love for her therapist. I don't think she'll see a therapist long enough for this. I'd love for her therapist to like really like go into that, because if Amberlynn truly wants to change and like improve herself, it's gonna require this level of action, which is like being called out by someone that understands this stuff and being like, here's a mirror, look at it. This is how you are to everyone around you. Do you think that's okay? You know?
I've become a better sister, but I'm still flawed. I'm super complex and nuanced, just like we all are. And this just has to be.
It's just funny because like Amberlynn's not complex. That's the craziest part. She's really not a complex human being. She's very simple-minded, a simple human being. She just makes her life harder for herself.
The last time that I speak about this, to protect my peace, and I hope that Beck does things that also protects theirs. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.
So that's it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed my reaction. I went into it not expecting much, but I think it was worse than I thought it could be.
Yeah.
And before I go, I want to thank everyone for being so supportive.
All right.